Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada Paramahangsa Parivrajacharya Status Sisamad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki. Shri Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki. Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to their simul devotees. All glories to their simul devotees. All glories to their simul devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, devotees, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, devotees, let us focus on Lord Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the first thing that we will discuss is, well, we'll read a couple of verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, but before we do that, can you hear okay? Should we turn up the volume? I would think so. It's not very loud at all. So yes, the first thing we'll do is just have a look at some points from Srila Rupa Goswami, one of our great acharyas, who in one of his books called Laghu Bhagavatamrita, which is basically discussing different points from Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a section there in which he discusses the relationships between Lord Nrsingadev, then Lord Ramachandra, and then Lord Krishna. And we'll just touch a little here now, first of all, on the relationship between Lord Nrsingadev and Lord Ram. There's a type of hierarchy, you could say, between the three. First of all, Nrsinga, then next and higher is Lord Ram, and then next and higher still is Lord Krishna. And Srila Rupa Goswami makes a very interesting point, is that all three of them possess all the 6 qualities of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all possess the 6 opulences. We use that term sometimes, the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Bhagavan. Bhagavan, literally, bhaga means opulences, and van means one who possesses. So these 3 forms of the Lord are taken to be the 3 highest because they display the 6 qualities of Bhagavan to such a high degree. So what are these 6 opulences or qualities of the Lord as Bhagavan? Well, let's see if we can get them right. All beauty, all strength, all knowledge, all fame, all renunciation, and there's one more. What is it? Wealth. Yes, thank you. That's the 6. So, of course, Krishna is the most special, and he possesses all of these things in full. Then Lord Ram possesses them also, but not quite as fully. And Lord Nrsingadev possesses them all, but again, to a lesser degree. So the particular opulence which Nrsingadev possesses is power. He possesses power. Basically, he possesses all the power of the Lord, of Krishna. all the power that Krishna has, all of it. The beauty, not as much, but he's also beautiful. The wealth, he also has wealth, but not as much. And the same with the others, knowledge, renunciation, etc. But Lord Nrsingadev, he possesses all power. But then Lord Ram is more special because he also possesses all power. But he also has certain personal qualities like his pastimes and his beauty, and they exceed Lord Nrsingadev's beauty. The beauty of Lord Ram exceeds the beauty of Lord Nrsingadev. And an example is given that Lord Nrsingadev, well, Lord Ram, you probably know, when Lord Ram went into exile, then when he actually left the city of Ayodhya, everyone cried. Everyone cried. But when Lord Nrsingadev left to return to the spiritual world, only Prahlad cried. Everybody else sort of breathed a sigh of relief even because he was so shocking. Yes, but when Lord Ram returned or left Ayodhya, everyone cried in separation. So Lord Ram he and Nrsingadev, they have these 6 qualities, opulences of Bhagavan. But particularly Lord Nrsingadev has all power. Lord Ram also has all power. But then he has more beauty. And this is exhibited in his pastimes. And therefore, the relationships he has with his devotees are closer than the relationships that Lord Nrsingadev has with his devotees. So that was just a little interesting little point. But then Krishna, we don't want to make a competition out of it, but Krishna is even more special because he has all the qualities in full. And when it comes to his beauty and his relationships with his devotees, then Lord Ram, as we said, when he left for the forest, everyone cried. But Lord Krishna, every day when he went out to herd the cows, everyone cried. Every day, not just the one time. So, okay, let's read some 2 verses. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Shri Giri Govardhan Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Some verses. We're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, chapter 11. Lord Ramachandra rules the world. And we're going to read verses 20 and 21. And this point about his power. Lord Nrsingadev is special for his power. he's outstanding and especially noted for his power. But these verses, particularly the first one about Lord Ram, the first one particularly makes the point that even though he has so much power, but that's not so special compared to other features of himself. Okay, so here we go. Nedam yasho ragupate surya yachnayata lila tenora dikasamya vimuktadam na raksho vedo jalabdi bandhanam astrapugai kim tasya shatruhanane kapaya sahaya. And the translation: Lord Ramachandra's reputation for having killed Ravan with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean, does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravan. So this verse is making the point that his power, he killed Ravan, he built a bridge over the ocean. This is not really what's so important about Lord Ram. In the case of Nrsingadev, that's the most important thing, his power. But in the case of Lord Ram, his power, how easily he defeated Ravana, this is not such a special thing. Yes. Okay, so that's verse 20 and verse 21. Yes, yamalam ripas sadasu yashodunapi gayantya gaganam rishayo digibendrapatam tam nakapala vasupala karita jushta padambujam ragupatim sharanam prapadye. Lord Ramachandra's spotless name and fame, which vanquish all sinful reactions, are celebrated in all directions, like the ornamental cloth of the victorious elephant that conquers all directions. Great saintly persons like Markandeya Rishi still glorify his characteristics in the assemblies of great emperors like Maharaj Yudhisthira. Similarly, all the saintly kings and all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, worship the Lord by bowing down with their helmets. Let me offer my obeisances unto his lotus feet. So Lord Ram, he's very wonderful. So in the Bhagavatam, well, you know, Ramayan, there are different versions of Ramayan. There's a number of different versions. In some of them, they talk about how Lord Ram, in order to cross the ocean, he worshipped Lord Shiva. In some of them, they don't mention that. Yeah. And so it's difficult really understanding which version of the Ramayan we should read if we're going to read Ramayan. But here in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's only 2 chapters which are discussing the pastimes of Lord Ram. But because it's Srimad Bhagavatam, then we know whatever there is here in Srimad Bhagavatam is completely authoritative. So therefore, when we want to focus on Lord Ram and glorify Lord Ram, then generally we focus on the descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, okay, now I'm going back to chapter 10, 9th canto, chapter 10, verse 2, and I'll read a few verses which are just introducing Lord Ram. Tasyapi, this is, 9th canto, chapter 10, verse 2. Chapter's titled, The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Tasyapi Bhagavan Esha, Sakshad Brahmamayo Hari, Ansham Shena Chaturdaghat, Putra Tvam Prartita Sarai, Rama Lakshmana Bharata, Shatrugna Iti Samgyaya. Translation: being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasarath. And we'll read a couple of verses. This is now verse 3. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you've heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. And let's read the purport of Srila Prabhupada to this verse. It's a pretty powerful purport. Modern Rakshasas, posing as educationally advanced merely because they have doctorates, have tried to prove that Lord Ramachandra is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary person. But those who are learned and spiritually advanced will never accept such notions. They will accept the descriptions of Lord Ramachandra and his activities only as presented by Tattvadarshis, those who know the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 34, the Supreme Personality of Godhead advises, Tadvadi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha, which means just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Unless one is tattvadarshi, in complete knowledge of the absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, although there are many so-called Ramayans or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, some of them are not actually authoritative. Sometimes Lord Ramachandra's activities are described in terms of one's own imaginations, speculations, or material sentiments. But the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra should not be handled as something imaginary. While describing the history of Lord Ramachandra, Shukadev Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, "You've already heard about the activities of Lord Ramachandra." Apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayans or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, and there are many still. But we must select only those books written by Tattvadarshis. As the verse from Bhagavad Gita says, Jnaninas Tattva Darshanaha. Not the books of so-called scholars who claim knowledge only on the basis of a doctorate. This is a warning by Shukadev Goswami. Rishibis Tattva Darshabi. Although the Ramayan composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Shukadev Goswami in a few verses. Okay, let's just say a few words now. So yes, we mentioned right at the beginning, we drew a little bit of a parallel between Lord Nrsimhadev and Lord Ramachandra, because according to Srila Rupa Goswami's analysis, they and then of course ultimately Lord Krishna are the most special amongst all the different expansions of the Lord, different forms of the Lord. Like this. Lord Krishna, of course, is the original Supreme Lord. But next comes Lord Ram, and then after him comes Lord Nrsimhadev. But Nrsimhadev's particular feature was his power. But Lord Ram, he was actually even more powerful. So we read that verse. It said that the fact he was so powerful, he defeated Ravana easily and constructed the bridge across the ocean. They're displays of his power, but they're not really showing how great he is, actually. But where you see his greatness more is in his pastimes, where he's exhibiting especially his beauty and other aspects of his nature. So this is an interesting point, that Lord Ram is very, very special amongst the forms of the Lord. There's a further description, a type of, not exactly comparison as such, but just in terms of relationship between Lord Ram on one hand, Lord Krishna on another hand, and Lord Caitanya on a third hand. Lord Ram, the particular quality in terms of personality, the particular quality that he exhibited, Lord Ram, was his, you could say, his honorability. he always upheld his word and maintained standards and followed rules. This is Lord Ram. Therefore, he's known as, in Sanskrit, Maryada Purushottam. Purushottam means the Supreme Personality. Purusha means person, and Uttama means the best. So Maryada Purushottama. Maryada means the rules and regulations, like the laws. And particularly Lord Ram, in that regard, is famous for his Eka Patni Vrata. He took a vow to only accept one wife. Of course, nowadays such a vow is, it's not anything extraordinary at all. But in those days it was extraordinary that many of the Kshatriyas, the kings, would have more than one wife. But particularly, Srila Prabhupada in the purports here, at the end of this 10th chapter, Srila Prabhupada points out this Ekapatni Vrata, how he took the vow to accept only one wife. And so, when Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita, Srila Prabhupada makes the point that if Lord Ram had wanted to, he could have just manifested another Sita, just like that, or even hundreds of them. But he didn't do that because he had taken this vow to accept only one wife. So therefore, Lord Ram, what he did, he went to great lengths and great difficulty to rescue Mother Sita. And of course, Lord Ram, he's the Supreme Lord. If he had wanted to, he could have just extended his hand out, his arm, and just plucked her up from where she was being held captive, or he could have just stopped Ravana from kidnapping her. And to do either of these things would have been very easy because he's the Supreme Lord. But he didn't do it like that. He rescued her, but apparently with great difficulty. There was a great battle. I'm sure you all know the basic story. There was a great battle for many days, and many, many warriors died, and it was such a dramatic situation. And eventually he killed Ravana, and then he rescued Sita, and in that way he upheld his vow. But as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if his idea was just to rescue Sita, like we said, he could have just put his arm out from wherever he was, extended his arm to Lanka, picked her up, and rescued her, and he's the Supreme Lord. That would have been nothing. But he went to these great lengths. He went to these great lengths to rescue her, not because he had to do it in that way with great difficulty. As I said, he could have done it very easily. But he did it in this sort of roundabout way because he wanted to show what he is prepared to do for his devotee, for his devotee wife. He was prepared to do anything, and no difficulty was too great to protect her and to rescue her. No price was too great to pay to rescue Sita, his devotee and his wife. And that was his Ekapatni Vrata, that was his vow, to have only one wife. So he maintained that standard of commitment. And therefore he's known as Maryada Purushottam, the Supreme Personality, who is particularly showing the example of maintaining standards, maintaining commitments like that. Then, of course, we have second here in this description is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is known as Leela Purushottam. Lord Ram is famous for following the rules and regulations and maintaining the standards and like that. But Lord Krishna is famous for his pastimes, Leela Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who particularly exhibits very amazing pastimes, most incredible pastimes, Lord Krishna. And then Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya, in this context, Lord Caitanya is known as Prema Purushottam, the Supreme Person who's particularly exhibiting love. Love in the mood of Radharani, love for himself and love for all living entities by trying to deliver them through the Sankirtan movement like this. So these three, they have their, it's the same person, but they have, each one has their particular special nature or personality, you could say. So in this case, we're focusing on Lord Ram, and we'll see over the next few days how he exhibited this nature as Maryada Purushottama, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person, who's following the rules and regulations and doing everything right, and no sort of, generally at least, nothing questionable. Lord Krishna danced with the gopis. At least in some people's minds this is questionable, although it's not really. But some people would see it like that. But Lord Ram would never do such a thing. Therefore, one thing which is said about Lord Ram is that in the character of Lord Ram, or the activities of Lord Ram, there are three ones. Three ones. First is one wife. One wife. That's the first one. Then, if there's any decision to be made, any sort of something to be established, then Lord Ram has one word, just one word. He doesn't, say one thing and then another thing on the same subject, and then maybe another thing also. Modern day politicians, they tend to use what we call flexi speak. They change what they say, you know. And one person actually pointed this out, that one politician was announcing something, and he said, well, on one hand, it's like this and we should do this. But then on another hand, maybe we should do that. And then he said, but then maybe on another hand, we should do something else. And the person said, well, how many hands do you have actually? You're up to 3 now. So, but Lord Ram, he had one word. He would make a decision, and that would be it. And for his enemies, Lord Ram had one arrow, just one. That was enough for Lord Ram. So one wife, one word, one arrow. These are 3 ones for Lord Ramachandra. And so he's very special like that. He's very special when his father Dasarath informed him that he was exiling him to the forest. And, you know, of course, we'll go through the story over the next so many days, how it all came to that point. But it came to that point, and Dasarath was completely devastated that I'm exiling you to the forest, and that's it. For many years, Dasarath was devastated. He was crying. He was just completely overwhelmed. And he was expecting that Lord Ram would also be upset. It was the day before Lord Ram was meant to be installed as in Sanskrit, the Yuvaraj. Yuvaraj, which literally means the youth king, but it means really the crown prince. He's going to be the king in a little while. So it's like a pre-coronation, you could say, for the upcoming king. So that was to happen the next day, but now Dasarath told Lord Ram that you're exiled. That's it. You have to go. But Lord Ram was not upset. Dasarath was expecting him to protest and say, why this, but it's not right, and we shouldn't do it. And indeed, Lakshman was doing that. He was protesting, and Lakshman was saying, we're not going to follow this. Just forget it. But Lord Ram, when his father told him this, Lord Ram just accepted it, of course. And he told Dasarath that your order, I will accept your order, any order from you, on my head as my great good fortune. And I will dedicate myself completely to following your order. So please don't think that I'm upset. I consider that you've blessed me by giving me this order, and I will do it without questioning, without protesting. I'll just embrace this order completely. This was the character of Lord Ram, Maryada Purushottama, the Supreme Personality who abides by, maintains, demonstrates the standard of following the rules and regulations, accepting without questioning, whatever instruction comes from his seniors. So yes, this is Lord Ram, very special personality. Of course, there's a few other things, a couple of other things that sort of come along, like his banishing Sita, but that's Leela. That's his Leela, his pastime. And they are eternally together, actually. But otherwise, in general, Lord Ram was just so completely steadfast in maintaining moral standards and following rules and regulations. And therefore, because he's so, you could say, upstanding, noble, righteous, he is appreciated by so many people. Lord Krishna, even though Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and actually he's on a higher level than Lord Ram, but Lord Krishna, for your average person, Lord Krishna is often a little more difficult to really appreciate in worldly terms. In worldly terms. Because Lord Krishna, anyway, you know, his pastimes sometimes, he demonstrates independence from rules and regulations sometimes. But Lord Ramachandra basically doesn't display that. He's very displaying the character of a noble person who's situated in the mode of goodness, sattva gun. And the only time Lord Ram really shows anger, the only time where he sort of, you know, gets really into a really heavy mood is when Sita is kidnapped. And there, assuming we get to that point, we'll see how Lord Ram, the anger of Ram, when his wife, his greatest pure devotee, Mother Sita, is kidnapped, the anger of Lord Ram in separation, the forced separation from Mother Sita, that anger is just, well, it's all part of his Ekapatni Vrata, that standard of his of accepting only one wife, but not just accepting, but by being totally committed, absolutely committed. So we will continue, I guess, tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ke. Shri Ram Nomi Mahotsava Ke. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanande.
Jaya